Remember when budgeting meant spreadsheets, color-coded categories, and tracking every coffee you bought? That version of budgeting is dying, and for good reason. In 2025, a new approach is taking over: values-based money management. Instead of cutting lattes, people are aligning their spending with what matters most. In today's fast-paced world, our financial landscape is rapidly evolving. The traditional methods of budgeting are giving way to a practice that is more intuitive and personalized. Gone are the days of meticulously noting every single expense, scrutinizing your daily cup of coffee, and perpetually feeling like you're living in a state of scarcity. Enter values-based budgeting, a refreshing and empowering approach that encourages individuals to focus on their core values and priorities. It's about investing in what brings genuine joy and fulfillment and cutting out the rest. This paradigm shift begins with a simple question: what matters most to you? Whether it's saving for a dream vacation, investing in personal development, or donating to causes you care deeply about, understanding your priorities is the key. Section 1. Why traditional budgets are fading. Traditional budgets are losing their steam in today's fast-paced world. Let's face it, traditional budgeting can feel incredibly restrictive. Typically, it's all about saying no to things you might really love, things that make your life feel vibrant and exciting. But is denying yourself these joys really the path to financial wellness? For many people, the answer, unfortunately, is no. Traditional budgets often focus more on cutting back and enforcing strict limits rather than promoting long-term satisfaction and financial security. Many people struggle to stick to their budgets over time. This happens primarily because traditional budgeting frameworks concentrate on what you can't have rather than helping you figure out what's most important for you. Budgeting this way turns into an exercise of deprivation, where money becomes the gatekeeper of your happiness, leading to stress rather than a sense of accomplishment. Sure, it might work in the short term, but can it sustain a lifestyle that you find fulfilling? This is where the idea of intentional spending enters the stage. Picture this. Instead of starting with numbers, you start with values. What do you really want from life? What are the non-negotiable elements that make you feel alive? This approach turns the traditional budgeting concept on its head. It's a refreshing shift from the rigidity we're used to. Intentional spending encourages you to focus on funding your passions and core responsibilities. You're no longer resisting. Instead, you're aligning your financial strategies with your personal goals and dreams. It's about creating a vision for your financial future that's as vivid as the life you want to live. Moving away from traditional budgets doesn't mean financial chaos. Quite the opposite. It can mean more financial freedom, a freedom aligned with your values, happiness, and life goals. It's about making decisions that allow money to serve its true purpose in your life, enabling the experiences and memories that will truly matter in the end. Remember, your financial journey should feel empowering, not limiting. Section 2. What is values-based spending? Values-based spending is all about flipping the traditional budgeting script. Instead of asking the typical question, "What do I need to cut out of my budget?" it urges you to consider a different approach. What matters most to me? And how can my spending reflect those priorities? This fresh perspective allows you to spend intentionally rather than frugally. Imagine reallocating your funds from those pesky subscription services to save up for a meaningful journey abroad. For some, this might be the essence of life fully lived. For others, values-based spending might involve investing more deeply in education, nurturing their wellness, or creating more opportunities to spend time with loved ones. This approach emphasizes personal values rather than external pressures. Technology plays a pivotal role in this transition. With the advent of apps and digital tools designed to track spending habits, people can now easily categorize their expenses according to their personal values, thus gaining insightful perspectives on where their money goes. You're not just setting a budget, you're crafting the life you want to lead. With values-based spending, each dollar spent becomes a reflection of your deepest commitments and passions. Whether it's about more leisure or learning, more adventures or serenity, this strategy puts you in the driver's seat of your financial journey. Consider what your values are and how they align with your spending. The choice isn't about what to sacrifice, it's about what to embrace. Remember, it's your life, your values, and your financial path. Section 3. Why values-based spending? Let's look at some inspiring real-life examples. Take Marie, for instance. She decided to cut back on her regular takeout orders. But not for the reason you might think. Marie wasn't simply saving money, she was reallocating that money towards something that truly ignited her passion: cooking classes. These classes not only taught her new culinary skills, but also brought her immense joy and fulfillment. Then there's Alex. Rather than indulging in the latest fashion trends, Alex chose to spend less on clothing and accessories. The result? He used the extra cash to start something he had always dreamed of: a home library. Surrounded by books that sparked curiosity and adventure, Alex created a sanctuary of knowledge right within his own home. And let's talk about Jordan, who made the bold decision to cancel several subscriptions. The motivation was powerful. With the savings, Jordan embarked on a solo trip abroad. This wasn't just any vacation. It was a life-altering experience that broadened horizons and shaped who Jordan became. The takeaway from these stories isn't about restriction, it's about choice. It's about understanding what truly matters to you and directing your resources, be that time, energy, or money, towards those priorities. It's about saying yes to possibilities that bring you joy, fulfillment, and growth, and saying no to obligations that don't align with your core values. Remember, this isn't a lecture about saving money or being frugal. It's an invitation to reflect on what truly matters to you. By making mindful choices, you're not just crafting a budget, you're crafting a life filled with purpose and intention. So take a moment to reevaluate your priorities and start your own journey of value-driven living. Section 4, How to Start Values-Based Budgeting. Let's start with a simple exercise. Take a moment to write down your top 3 life values. Maybe it's freedom, growth, health, family, or something else entirely. These values are the core of who you are and should guide your financial decisions. Next, review your recent spending. Look closely and ask yourself, what part of my expenses align with these values? And perhaps more importantly, what doesn't align? Once you've got a clear picture, create 2 lists, one for aligned spending and another for unaligned spending. This step will highlight where your money's going and how it matches up with what you truly value. Now, it's time for the fun part. Adjusting. Shift your financial resources toward what gives you meaning, not just what brings momentary pleasure. This might mean cutting back on dining out to put more towards travel experiences if freedom is your value, or reducing subscriptions to increase savings for personal development courses if growth is a priority. Remember, this process isn't about perfection, it's about direction. Each small change brings you closer to a life where your financial habits reflect your deepest aspirations. Embrace the challenge of values-based budgeting and watch as your financial and personal worlds align, bringing you closer to the life you truly desire. In a world where financial advice often feels more like chastisement rather than guidance, many of us have found ourselves burdened by the relentless task of adhering to a budget. Yet, as we progress through 2025, it becomes increasingly clear that budgeting isn't dead. Instead, it's evolving, adapting to our modern lives and needs. For too long, budgeting has been synonymous with guilt. The guilt of buying that morning coffee, of indulging in a night out, or simply treating yourself to something nice. This constant tension between desire and discipline can be exhausting. But what if there's a way to break free from this cycle? If you're tired of feeling guilty over every purchase, maybe it's time to stop asking how to spend less and start asking how to spend better. It's not merely about restricting ourselves, but about making conscious decisions that resonate with our values. Because a life that reflects your values is a life well spent. Imagine aligning your expenditures with what genuinely matters to you, whether that be family, education, health, or travel. This could mean prioritizing experiences over material possessions or investing in things that contribute to your personal growth. Start by identifying what truly adds value to your life. Create categories in your financial plan that support your goals and aspirations. Let go of the traditional confines of budgeting and instead embrace a system that caters to your personal narrative. In this evolved vision of budgeting, the focus shifts from sheer restriction to mindful allocation. It's about having the financial freedom to make choices that bring joy and satisfaction rather than deprivation and guilt. This is the financial freedom of 2025 and beyond. As we transition into this new era, remember that a budget is not just a limiting plan, but a living reflection of who you are and what you value. Make it a tool that empowers you to live authentically and with intention. Let's all commit to spending better, living without regret, and cherishing the value of every dollar spent in alignment with our truest priorities. Comment below, what's one thing you love spending money on, and why?